This is Astron 7 calling Galaxia Kentron. This is Astron 7 calling Galaxia Kentron. We're approaching 61 Cygni, planet 27 for the 37th Trideca observation. All scanners on.
Well, Captain, I see 30 years hasn't changed the atmosphere any. It's just as deadly now as on our last visit.
It'll take a lot longer than 30 years to clear that up. I'll take us in closer. Tape the pass-by.
Instruments indicate heavy gases have built up at surface level.
Atmosphere verified at 6 km.
You know, I find it difficult to believe an entire civilization could just die like this.
Well, Karan, it didn't happen suddenly. In fact, the changes were so gradual, they never understood what was happening to their world until the process was irreversible.
Surely they must have been forewarned.
They were. But by the time they grasped the situation, they couldn't bring about the unity of purpose necessary to save the planet. This is a classic case of a civilization overwhelmed by its own technology. This is Astron 7 calling Galaxia Kentron. We have taped the coordinates for the observation pass, planet 27, 61 Cygni. If no counter instructions, we will proceed immediately to Galaxy 208, Solar System 127, Planet 3, for our 360th Trideca report.
Programmed arrival, 36 light hours.
Feed course 2081273.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Star speed 4. Log the entry course, please.
Yes, sir. As you know, Captain, this is my first visit to this planet.
I think you'll find it a fascinating world, Karan. I've been studying it now for 10 centuries.
Third planet from a star. Is it people?
Oh, yes, it is. They call themselves man, and their planet, Earth. This is Astron 7 calling Galaxia Kentron. We're making our first pass over Planet 3, System 127, Galaxy 208. All scanners on and recording.
How advanced are these Earthlings?
Well, they're just about at the midpoint of their potential, although the thrust of this development has taken place only in the past few hundred years.
Anything approaching our level?
Though different from us in many respects, they're on an evolutionary course not dissimilar to that which our own ancestors experienced 250,000 years ago.
In transition, then?
A necessary phase which all sentient creatures must experience if they're to evolve toward a higher level of awareness.
Captain, we have a visitor.
That's just one of their space probes, Karan. Please log its position and polar bearing.
Do these Earthlings all speak the same language?
No, they speak diverse languages and have evolved into geographic divisions they call nations. Though certainly what they have in common as men far outweighs any fine distinctions of language. While I'm adjusting the scanner, why not take a look at this tape? It concerns one nation down there that has been of special interest to me these past few hundred years. Almost a hobby, you might say.
What distinguishes it from similar nations on this planet?
Well, in a relatively short span of time, this particular country has evolved quite a complex and advanced economic system. One that may offer the best hope for balancing the tensions that always exist between the individual and the group. The social conflict between what is rightfully private property and what is public. In short, man versus the state.
Now, the science of designing and building robots and the productive use of these modern-day machines is called robotics. Robotics. Let's get on with our story without...
Mr. Shottier. Mr. Shottier. May I have your autograph, please?
Not cute. This little character wants my autograph.
You're watching Sleepcore. Pleasant dreams.
I'm Peter Schwartz, and I'm a futurist. And what I do basically is help people think more creatively about the future so they can make decisions here in the present about the world that they anticipate in the years to come, so they can avoid some of the problems that they're likely to encounter and take advantage of some of the opportunities. We work mostly with government and businesses around the world, helping them to think more intelligently about tomorrow. In this show, we'll take a look at the people who are working on the cutting edge of these new technologies and meet a suburban family experiencing the new media in their own home.
Well, I've always been into some type of art, always, ever since I was a little kid. Drawing, painting, clay, all of it. But when we got the stuff in the house, I went wild with it. I mean, I'd stay up all night for weeks on end, get my mother crazy. Anyway, you know, none of my friends or kids I knew from school seemed too interested. So then I put up this ad in the on the computer bulletin board. And here, want to see it? Okay. It said,
"Are you computer artists freaking out on this new technology? Sitting up all night because you can't stop drawing? Me too. Let's talk about it. Send replying artwork to MV622. Well, I saved it and I kept it in memory, and I remember it was between an ad for a used outboard motor and a Chinese cooking class. Maybe there was someone else out there who did the same things that I did. So I answered it.
Then I got this. There's no name, no note, nothing, just the code number. Well, I loved it. And so I sent back some of mine.
I didn't even think she was going to send anything back to me. She liked them, though. She liked them a lot.
And I couldn't wait to find out what he thought of my stuff. And he told me he liked it. And he said he really liked it. Anyway, so he loved it. And what else?
So I had this strategy already planned out to where two people could draw on the same screen at the same time, but be on two different terminals.
I mean, I thought I was into this, but well, anyways, we started drawing together. And I don't know, it just worked. It worked. He picked up on it immediately. He was just there with me.
My parents got on my case for not going out and stuff and spending all my time in my room, and
we would do it like all night long. And I would start falling asleep in school. And I didn't care. I didn't care about anything. It just felt like magic. Something was happening. It was something else. I don't know. I never had anything like it before, so I don't know how to describe it really, but
So, we had everything settled and everything was going fine. And then she wanted to meet me.
man, who is this guy? I wanted to meet him, but he hesitated.
I didn't know whether she was fat or ugly or if she would think that I was weird because I like doing the things that I do. And
What we did was we agreed to send these pictures of each other, of ourselves, through the computer. That way it's like a little fuzzy, leave a little to the imagination still, you know. And then the next step after that was we decided to meet at the downtown McDonald's, and he was to wear a red carnation, which he did not wear.
because I know a lot of kids that work there, and I don't think I'd wear it.
And I knew him the second I saw him anyways, immediately. I knew it was him. Just, you know.
And we've been together ever since.
I swear, it was like we had known each other for a really long time.
As we move into this new era, access to information becomes a new kind of wealth. In the past, wealth was money, stuff, goods, land. But as more and more of our employment, as more and more of what counts in the world is in the form of information, whether it's in the financial system, whether it's in think tanks like SRI, whether it's in public policy, doesn't really matter. Information becomes a new kind of wealth, and we'll have the information rich and the information poor. Those who feel comfortable with the technology, those who feel comfortable with abstraction, those who feel comfortable with quantification, and those who don't. And we'll have no's and no-nots, if you will.
Welcome to Clear Thinking, a program designed to help the user formulate specific ideas and concepts based on user input. The program is basically self-explanatory, but if you have any questions now or during the program, just ask for help. Try to speak clearly in a normal tone of voice, and feel free to say whatever enters your mind. What would you like to discuss?
Oh, I don't know. I just know I'm upset.
Describe in 1 or 2 words what "I'm upset" brings to mind.
I'm upset about all this stuff in my house.
Can you define stuff in my house?
All the computers.
So, you're upset about all the computers.
Yes.
Describe in detail what "upset about all the computers" brings to mind.
I don't know what's happening. I feel like I am losing control of my family, that I'm not in charge anymore. They don't come to dinner, God knows who they're with, and... Not used to my husband at home all the time.
Describe in detail how...
I'm not finished. It scares me. They spend all their time at those things, and I don't know what they're doing or what it's doing to them. So I get strict and parenty, and I'm frustrated.
Frustrated is a key word. Would you like to comment?
Well, I think I should be doing something, but I don't know what to do. You see, if I could figure out all...
Now, look over what you've said and pick out the key phrases which describe "upset about all the computers." Prioritize these phrases in a vertical order, from the most important on the top to the least important on the bottom.
I'm losing control. What it's doing to them. I'm frustrated. What I should do, and they don't come to dinner.
How does what it's doing to them generate or imply frustrated?
Well, I think there are other things they should know. Values, respect for other people, compassion, but they won't listen to me. I mean, what can a computer teach them about respect, about love?
Love is a key word. Would you like to comment?
It means never having to say you're sorry.
How does never having to say you're sorry generate or imply they don't come to dinner?
Strike that, Okay, next.
Look back over what you have said and describe your subjective feelings upset about all the computers.
Subjective feelings. I'm confused, frustrated. I feel left out and taken for granted. I'm mad. And I feel intimidated.
Outline how you would like to react to upset about all the computers and what active steps you could take to alleviate the problem.
Well, I'd like to feel more in control again. And I'd like to spend more time with my kids so I could learn what they're doing and I could understand it all. And I'd like to stop talking to the computer now.
Stop is a key word. Would you like to comment?
Yes.
You're watching Sleepcore, media for insomnia.
Meet the DCX, Delta Clipper Experimental, a rocket for the people, a revolutionary approach to lowering launch costs, which takes us back to the future of spaceflight, an entirely new philosophy in the development of launch technology. The Delta Clipper team has taken the common sense, tried and true approach of commercial aviation and applied it for the first time to rockets. In early rocket designs, the mass of the equipment and propellant needed to fly long distances was found to be too high. Since the cost of the vehicle was less important than delivering its payload on what was usually a one-way trip, it was decided to throw away those parts of the rocket no longer being used in the flight, progressively making it lighter as it flew towards its target. This is the type of traditional multi-stage vehicle we currently use. Imagine what an airline ticket would cost if each trip started out with an entire plane and ended with only the passenger cabin, and then was rebuilt for the return flight only to be mostly thrown away again. The costs would forever keep flying beyond the grasp of all but a few. That's the situation we face today. We know from experience that we should maintain a mixed fleet of launch capability. But if the goal of our space program is a dramatic reduction in the cost of launching payloads, then it's also time for the next step, a reusable rocket system that operates as routinely as today's military and commercial aircraft. This is why the DCX single-stage rocket is so important. In 1990, the Defense Department selected 4 of the nation's leading aerospace contractors to conduct a Phase 1 feasibility study of the single-stage-to-orbit concept based on available computer, propulsion, and materials technologies. The study's mandate was to answer 3 main questions. Can it be done? Can it be done quickly? And can it be done cheaply? After careful studies by the best minds at each firm, all 4 agreed. The answer to all 3 questions was yes. Single stage to orbit will work. Taking a page from aircraft development programs, Phase 2 of the project was to rapidly prototype X vehicles of increasing size and performance. This aircraft style of development, in which a series of test vehicles are repeatedly flown to incrementally push the envelope of a concept, had never been applied to rockets. First, a 1/3 scale vehicle called DCX would be built to prove the concept and to conduct low-speed flight and maneuvering tests. Next, if funding is made available, will come a vehicle twice the size of the DCX, which will obtain speeds well into the hypersonic range. This vehicle will support commercial and military testing and be our next step on the way to the single-stage-to-orbit fleet, which will be the heart of our 21st century launch industry. In 1991, McDonnell Douglas's Delta Clipper vertical takeoff and landing design was selected for Phase 2, designated the Single Stage Rocket Technology Program, SSRT, to demonstrate technology availability of reusable rocket systems. A suborbital demonstrator was ordered, and an industry team made up of some of the world's top aerospace companies was formed to take. For its first flight, the DCX will take off and hover just above the ground as its systems are verified. Then it will perform a soft touchdown on its landing gear. Next, it will be flown to higher altitudes and faster speeds in both still and windy conditions, where it will demonstrate its aerodynamic performance. Then it will be flown to several thousand feet, where it will be ordered to pitch over into its landing approach flight path. Next, it will demonstrate its critical rotation maneuver. Finally, using its onboard vehicle management system with its global positioning receiver, the DCX will perform a precision soft landing within 20 feet of its designated touchdown site. In a world ever more conscious of the environment, McDonnell Douglas is proud of the fact that the hydrogen and oxygen propellants used in our DCX will make the Delta Clipper the world's environmentally cleanest spaceship, as its exhaust will be nothing more than water vapor. The Delta Clipper single-stage rocket concept is indeed the door to space for America. Single-stage rocket research bodes a revolution in spaceflight, which will not only give our defenders the technology for global reach, but will pave the way for a whole new generation of scientists, students, and commercial researchers to enjoy unprecedented opportunities for research and exploration. The DCX is as common sense an idea as America itself. This year, the McDonnell Douglas Delta Clipper team will change the world. Single-stage rockets have arrived. DCX, the future is now.
You're watching Sleepcore. Sleep tight.
In the eyes of man, an old idea is about to change. Our concept of time, it will be rewritten. Our words life and death and age all redefined. Toward immortality, man's slow and ancient walk on this planet will become a race. The gain measured in decades, no longer months or single years. The vision, the chance, simply this: that child about to be born will live more years, gather more wisdom, come to know more generations living with the same last name than any human child born in all of history. And it's a journey we've already begun. Today, in government labs, in private labs across the country, scientists are examining the secrets of aging hidden in the chemistry of man. Under their microscopes, the blood cells and antibodies of the immune system, the body's genetic code, the double helix of DNA, the powerful enzymes and hormones that give cells life and then take it away, even the chemical transmitters inside our brain. It is here, life magnified 1,000 times, where the researchers work, and they are nearer to solving the puzzle of life and death than ever before. Dr. Robert Butler, founding director of the National Institute on Aging.
These fields are spectacular. There's just no doubt that they're going to continue to take off. They're already taking off. And by the turn of the century, it's just inevitable that we're going to have many means of intervening in the aging process itself.
If the words "toward immortality" sound like science fiction, consider how far we've already come. Today in this nation, death from infectious or parasitic disease is rare or non-existent. Smallpox, scarlet fever, cholera, dysentery, diphtheria, tuberculosis, the great killers of our recent past, are now gone, or very nearly so, and the result is a life expectancy today that would have seemed godlike to ancient man. 2,000 years ago in ancient Rome, half the population was dead by the age of 22. Imagine, a life expectancy of just 22 years. And then, in the middle of the last century, it jumped to 40 years, and then to about 47 years at the beginning of this century. And today, on average, we will live nearly 75 years. Our life expectancy has almost doubled in just 5 generations. It's increased 50% since the year our grandparents were born. But there's a problem here. The way we've extended our lives in the past won't work, cannot work in the future. Let me explain what I mean. In the past, each time we've conquered a disease, we've added more years to our lives. But today, even if we were to find a cure for the major diseases left, our life expectancy would only increase a few more years. Let me give you a couple of examples. According to the Public Health Service, if every variety of cancer suddenly disappeared, life expectancy would increase just 2 years and 4 months. If tomorrow morning all heart disease was suddenly cured, we would live less than 6 more years. So if most of us are to live to be 100, 120, even 150 years of age, it won't be by treating specific diseases, but by altering the aging process itself. Man, like every animal alive, has a chemical defense system on duty 24 hours a day, without which, in a matter of hours, all of us would die. This defense is armed with enzymes, hormones, antibodies of 1,000 different kinds that protect us from the natural hazards of life: viruses, bacteria, cancer, even poisons called free radicals produced by our own bodies. The problem, in theory at least, is that this system is just like the rest of us. It grows old, weak, less effective with age, and in the war against disease that begins the day we're born, toward the end of life, the attacking cancer or viruses finally win, the chemical defenders lose, we grow old, and then we die. Now, one way to solve this problem is to find a way to kill each disease one by one, which is what science has been doing for centuries, but there might be another way. We might strengthen the body's own defense and let it kill the disease, whatever it is. In other words, if the most powerful medicine ever designed, the body's own protective chemistry, works so well when we're young, Why not just beef it up, somehow reinforce that chemistry when we need it most, in old age? That way we might not only cure diseases that come with age, but prevent aging altogether, or at least slow it down. And it is at this frontier that medical science has finally arrived.
I feel myself that we'll be extending lifespan by simple means easily before the end of the century. Some areas are increasing the DNA repair rate. There's good evidence that that would extend lifespan. Better information about how to counteract free radicals in the body. Other ways of handling the deterioration of the immune system. So there are a lot of things coming off the scientific workbench now, and if any of them work, then we'll have a big step forward.
He doesn't have much longer to live. At worst, a few hours. At most, a few months, perhaps. In fact, according to his doctor, 59-year-old William Keith, retired postman, shouldn't be alive right now. After years of high blood pressure, heavy drinking, and smoking 2 packs a day, only 10% of his heart muscle is still pumping, is still alive. And while this may seem harsh, he is in this condition because, like many of us, in a way, he chose to be. Despite hypertension and a heart attack 12 years ago, he continued to drink and smoke, and sometimes he forgot his blood pressure medications, so now he can't walk, he can hardly talk, and he can't be sure he'll ever see his wife again after today. The point is, extending human lifespan will come in part because science will find new ways to treat disease, and then we'll find a way to alter aging itself. Beyond that, however, how long we live is and will be largely up to us. And some of the hazards are pretty obvious. Excessive drinking, cigarette smoking, obesity, too much sugar, salt, fat in our food, not enough exercise. But there are other things that aren't obvious at all.
Welcome to Carmel, FTL Newsfeed. 13 October, 2142.
An FTL flash poll shows that 22% of NAU citizens agree with the Realist Party's position that virtual reality addiction is a growing social problem. But 58% believe that virtual reality is safe. 10% were plugged into the VR net and couldn't be reached for comment.
Escape, the revolutionary home virtual reality system, is here. Escape's high-resolution head mount, total immersive software, and custom-designed high-performance hardware teleports you right into the game. Move in, through, and around the world you see. You are in VR. Exploding 64 bits of VR power. 16 million excellent colors with 3D texture map graphics. Exceptional get-a-grip VR controller. And extraordinary CD quality 3D spatial sound. Insert a cartridge, you're there. Fantasy becomes reality. Virtual reality as you battle to high-tech victory in Hollow Sports Fighter. Master the Mega Maze world of Quicksilver. Race and survive the Cyberdrome Gauntlet in Mind Trips. Search for secret alien treasure in the outer city limits of Intruder. Or sword blast your way to freedom through the time warp arena of Nero Zero. And with spectator mode, everyone's in on the action. Go solo or network with up to 6 players in the ultimate VR web. Escape goes almost anywhere. Escape's passive VR videotapes will let you experience incredible sights and breathtaking thrills as never before. Escape's exceptional expandability and mega line of add-ons will keep you pushed to the technical edge and over. So escape into tomorrow, today. Escape from Citadel Entertainment. See you on the inside.
I'm in!
This is reality.
I am any.
This is not. But what about this? Or this? Special effects make the unreal seem real, but on a flat two-dimensional screen, there's a limit to their deceptions. Not so with virtual reality. In its simplest form, virtual reality immerses your sense of sight. For example, with this helmet on, 2 tiny TV monitors feed your eyes computer-generated images, in this case of Death Valley. Now, this helmet is wired to the computer so that when you move your head to the left or to the right, the images also move to the left and right. So to your eyes, you're no longer here, you're actually in there. With a virtual reality or VR helmet, your eyes can wander through a computer-generated battlefield or through the rooms of a house designed but not yet built. And ultrasound images piped into this doctor's helmet makes him believe he's got X-ray vision, exploring the womb of a pregnant woman with his eyes.
By using virtual reality and you feel as if you're there, you have all of the natural skills that a person brings to bear on that environment. So you feel as if you can naturally interact with that environment, and so you can explore it and understand it more easily.
Michael McGreevy and his colleagues are the ultimate armchair explorers. With VR, they can walk through the hills and valleys of other planets without ever leaving their lab at NASA's Ames Research Center in Northern California.
With virtual reality, many more people can explore in a much more rich way. So now we can have school children, planetary geologists of all ages, from graduate school to perhaps a geologist who's too old to physically accompany the astronauts.
VR helmets are bulky and detract from the experience. So companies are developing VR glasses, and ultimately, VR images will be beamed directly into the eyes by tiny projectors.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, solid rocket ignition, and liftoff.
In the real world, not just sights, but sounds are important. That's why Elizabeth Wenzel at NASA's Ames Research Center is perfecting a VR headset that can play tricks on our sense of hearing. It's coming to me from the top, but when I point it down, it does sound like the sound is coming from down there. When it comes to sounds, Jaron Lanier is a virtuoso. He can play dozens of real instruments, but also dozens of virtual instruments, like the rhythm gimbal or the cyber xylo. Not bad for a self-taught high school dropout who 9 years ago founded one of the first virtual reality companies in the world. Like others, Lanier is pursuing the holy grail of virtual reality, pursuing ways of immersing people's senses beyond just sight and sound.
What we've discovered is that creating a feeling of reality is not just creating sensation coming in, but it's the interactivity. It's when you can reach out and change the world. You can pick up an apple on the table and toss it. That's when it becomes real.
For the sense of touch, scientists have developed various VR gloves. Sensors keep track of your real movements, then command the computer to duplicate them inside the virtual world. At California's Loma Linda University Medical Center, virtual reality gloves are giving paralyzed patients a helping hand.
Even though they don't have the actual strength to pick up a real object, they can pick up a virtual object, and they can learn now fine motor tasks and coordination skills before they actually have the strength to do it in real life with real objects.
At the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, scientists using this VR hand can actually feel the pushes and pulls of the imaginary molecules they move around. By developing a feel for how atoms attract and repel, scientists hope to assemble medicines never before imagined, building them from scratch, one atom at a time. In the future, people will wear not just helmets and gloves, but entire bodysuits called exoskeletons, the better to immerse their senses in virtual reality.
I can see a time in the foreseeable future when the technology will allow us to smell and to taste things also.
Harry, you might feel a little nauseous at first.
Right.
And what about this evening's Wild Palms?
Virtual reality in 2007 is not going to look like it looks in Wild Palms. In fact, it never will, because virtual reality is always going to look a little different than reality. It just has to.
Why?
Because virtual reality has images that come through a computer on their way to you. They have to come through the computer because that's what makes them interactive. But when they go through the computer, they become a little computery. They become slightly cartoonish. And in Wild Palms, they use live actors. And we're not going to get that good by 2007.
Virtual reality, however, has left the lab and is coming to our neighborhoods. Right now, for example, virtual reality theaters are being planned all over the world. And this fall, Sega plans to market the first affordable VR helmet for home use, a device that can enhance and distort our sense of reality, all for the cost of about $200.
You're watching Sleepcore. Pleasant dreams.
In reality, a Jolly Rancher candy is 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch square. But the virtual reality of its taste is immeasurable. Jolly Rancher candy, the great taste of fruit, squared.
VREX welcomes you to the world of stereoscopic 3D. Congratulations on your purchase of the VR Surfer, VREX's revolutionary new way to see stereoscopic 3D on your TV and computer. With sophisticated microprocessor electronics, unique low-power circuits which give you 1,000 hours of battery life, and an innovative breakthrough called SmartSync technology that lets you use the same infrared communication with your TV and PC, you now have the latest and most thrilling way to see stereoscopic 3D. This video cassette contains the following information: how to connect the VR Surfer to your TV and VCR, stereoscopic video demonstration and sampler, how to install the VR Surfer on your computer, create your own stereoscopic presentations, other VREX stereoscopic products. Please watch this portion of the videotape first, where you will see how to set up the VR Surfer with your TV and VCR. Then you can stop the tape and refer to the enclosed installation guide to connect the VR Surfer to your VCR. Remove everything from the box and place it on the table grouped as we will show you. In addition to the installation guide, you should have CD-ROM software, which includes instructions on how to install configurations and all the 3D utilities on your computer and some awesome 3D games. A videotape, which includes setup instructions, 3D animations, and 3D documentaries. VR Surfer 3D eyewear. Transmitter, which uses patented technology to communicate wirelessly to the eyewear. Power adapter for transmitter. VR Surfer TV cable with Y-splitter. VR Surfer computer cable. Notice that for your convenience and ease of connection, the cables have been color-coded. Since you'll be setting up the VR Surfer with your TV first, set aside the VR Surfer computer cable and the CD-ROM software. You'll use them to set up the computer later. Here's the VR Surfer setup to display 3D on your TV. As you can see, there are only two simple connections. One to power the transmitter, and the other to bring video signals from your VCR to the transmitter. First, place the transmitter on top of your TV as shown, with the lip securing it on the edge. Plug the power adapter into an outlet and the power cable into the smaller socket at the rear of the transmitter. Locate the video out jack on the back of your VCR. VCRs are different, and there may be many cables attached. Simply find the one jack labeled Video Out. It's usually yellow. Plug the Y-splitter end of the VR Surfer TV cable labeled to VCR Video Out and color-coded yellow into Video Out on the back of your VCR. Should Video Out already have a cable plugged into it, unplug that cable and plug in the Y-splitter side of the VR Surfer TV cable in its place. Plug the cable you removed back into the other open end of the Y-splitter. Take the other end of the VR Surfer TV cable, which is labeled to transmitter, color-coded gray, and plug the 4-pin plug into the larger socket at the rear of the transmitter. The pins should line up carefully with the socket so that they don't get bent. Use the red dots on both the cable and the transmitter to help align them. A red power light on the left side of the transmitter lens comes on each time it's plugged in, and the power light will turn green when the SmartSync circuit detects a video signal. Pressing the left front side of the cover lens turns the transmitter off and on. Pressing the right side of the lens switches between reverse stereo, indicated by a yellow light, and stereo, which is indicated when the light is off. For normal operation with all VREX video, the yellow light should be off. Now you're ready to surf the third dimension with some exciting 3D stereoscopic video. Turn on your TV and VCR. Place the VREX 3D video cassette into your VCR and you'll see the green light, letting you know that the transmitter has detected and is sending the 3D signal. The infrared signal is sent from the transmitter to the eyewear. So make sure the transmitter is on top of the TV, directly facing you, so the eyewear will receive the signal. Turn on the VR Surfer eyewear by pressing the white button on the inner left side. The lenses will be flashing to indicate they are on. Now you are ready to watch 3D stereoscopic video. Turn off the room lights to minimize interference and flicker. Sit back, put on the VR Surfer, start playing the video cassette in your VCR, and enjoy. You'll see some exciting 3D video which uses the VR Surfer video display mode. You'll find that when you install the VR Surfer on your computer, you will experience improved resolution and picture stability in the VR Surfer's basic display mode. The flicker will be eliminated when you choose the VR Surfer Advanced mode on your computer. Only the VR Surfer offers all of these display modes for any 3D application on both your TV and computer. At the conclusion of the 3D video presentation, we'll show you how to connect and install the VR Surfer on your computer. Stop this tape now and follow the instructions in the TV and VCR section of the installation guide.
You're watching Sleepcore, media for insomnia.
The Virtual Environment Display System is a multisensory interactive display environment in which a user can virtually explore a 360-degree synthesized or remotely sensed environment and can viscerally interact with its components. The objective of this research is to develop a multi-purpose operator interface environment with initial applications in telerobotics, data management, and human factors research. The foundation of the system is a head-mounted display unit that consists of medium-resolution, monochromatic liquid crystal display screens. The LCD technology is used to meet design constraints on size, weight, power, safety, and cost, and also to provide a see-through capability. The display screens are presented to each eye of the user through wide-angle optics with an effective field of view for each eye of 120 degrees horizontal and vertical. Imagery displayed on the screens is pre-distorted to match the field of view of the viewing optics. The resulting stereoscopic image closely matches the human operator's binocular and peripheral vision capabilities and strongly contributes to sense of presence in the remote or synthesized environment displayed. Head motion of the user is tracked by a sensor mounted on the helmet, and the derived position and orientation data is used to update the images in sync with the user's activities. As a result, the displayed imagery appears to completely surround the user in 3-space. In addition to stereoscopic depth cues, the system provides full motion parallax and motion perspective cues that allow the operator to explore virtual objects in real time and from multiple viewpoints. The technology used to track the user's head position and orientation is also used to position a 3D cursor in the virtual environment. The system also includes lightweight glove-like devices that transmit data records of arm, hand, and finger position and shape to a host computer. In coordination with speech recognition technology, this information is used to interact with virtual objects in the synthesized environment. End applications of this technology include control of remotely operated robotic devices and vehicles that require a sufficient quantity and quality of sensory input and feedback to approximate actual presence at the task site. A workstation-mounted viewer has also been developed for application in information management tasks and human factors research. This configuration can provide a movable window into a three-dimensional data space surrounding the viewer. In this application, virtual control panels and reconfigurable workstations can be rapidly prototyped or adapted for different users. Further research will use the virtual environment display system to develop portable information environments and virtual workstations.
バーチャルボーイ。テレビゲームでは味わえない立体感あふれるソフトが次々登場。マリオズテニス、ギャラクティックピンボール、テレロボクサーなどが同時発売。バーチャルボーイ、販売店でぜひお試しください。
Mandela is a unique technology that allows people to enter and control virtual worlds without having to physically touch anything.
Audiences are looking for more than just passive entertainment. Interactive experiences are the only way to go.
These waves all around us now. Radio waves, X-ray, sonic, These waves all around us now.
Mandela technology is completely customizable. We can produce worlds for any situation or environment.
Whatever you can imagine, we can let you experience. There are no limits.
See for the first time thrilling pictures of the world of tomorrow.
These waves are all around us now. These waves are all around us now. Radio waves, television channels, X-rays, and so on, and so on, and so on. These waves are all around us now. These waves are all around us. Radio waves, television channels, X-rays, and so on.
You're watching Sleepcore. Sleep tight.
Fly over Mars. Take a trek through a prehistoric jungle. Tour a house that has not yet been built. It's called virtual reality, and as Jay Shadler found out, all it takes is a special helmet and a glove, and you're off.
You're gone, John. Your history.
It's a computer-generated world where you see and move and feel. Will real life ever be the same?
From ABC News, with anchors Diane Sawyer in New York, Sam Donaldson in Washington, Chief Correspondent Chris Wallace, Judd Rose, Jay Shadler, and Sylvia Chase. This is Prime Time.
It was more than 100 years ago that Lewis Carroll wrote about Alice's trip through the looking glass. Now, that fiction has become a reality, or you might say a virtual reality, because that's the name of a new computer technology that many believe will revolutionize the way we live. Jay Shadler explains, virtual reality lets you travel to places you've never been and see things you've never seen and do things you've never done without ever leaving the room.
If dreams could be sold, what would you buy? The poet's question may soon have a practical answer.
The goal of virtual reality is simple. It's total submersion, complete detachment from reality.
The doors are opening on a world where the line between reality and illusion has dissolved.
I want to fly over Mars. I want to experience everything the roving exploration machines experience. I want to be there. I want to explore the planets myself.
Advances in computer graphics over the past 10 years are making it possible to create artificial three-dimensional worlds, complete and convincing, though they only exist in the mind of the viewer and the heart of the computer. Known as virtual reality, or VR, this new technology uses pictures and sounds to wrap around your senses. Imagine a place and you'll be able to step into it. Conjure up a dream and you'll be able to fly through it.
It's unreal. It's different, and it's so natural that when you experience it, it's something that, people come out of the system and say, wow, that's unreal.
Jonathan Waldron is a 31-year-old computer scientist in England. As a college student, he designed computer graphics. Now, he's launched one of the first companies to mass-produce virtual reality systems.
Okay, so here we are going into virtual space, and here I want to show you a little application where we've got a car engine.
As with most VR systems, Waldron's uses stereoscopic images projected onto tiny screens inside the viewer's helmet. A powerful computer then generates the graphics and sounds needed to convince the viewer he's in another world. The illusion is completed when motion sensors in Waldron's glove and helmet allow him to begin interacting with whatever he sees.
What I can do is, as you can see, freely move the articles all around anywhere I like in space. Now, on a conventional computer, this would take an awful long time. Here in the virtual world, you just pick them up and move them around.
The technology that created this hands-on control of an imaginary world is already being used to recreate distant worlds.
There is a cliff along the horizon here. That's one cliff of Valles Marineris. There's the canyon running in this direction east.
Michael McGreevy is a principal engineer at NASA Ames Research Center in California. Using virtual reality techniques, two-dimensional electronic pictures sent back from the Viking orbiters have been converted into a three-dimensional model of the planet Mars.
So I would want to walk right around between these boulders.
NASA geologists and armchair astronauts are literally exploring the universe without ever leaving home.
You can extend your presence across the information domain. You can be any size, any place, at any time.
There are, of course, more down-to-earth applications of virtual reality. Detailed models of city landscapes are giving urban planners a chance to redesign Main Street without ever lifting a stone. And architects can show you around your new home even before the first brick is laid.
The hardest part of designing anything, including a building, is deciding what it is you want to design exactly.
Professor Frederick Brooks is one of the pioneers in virtual reality. His computer science center at the University of North Carolina was partially designed with VR technology. Instead of helmets and sensory gloves, a treadmill and handlebars steer the computer.
This kind of technology lets not only the architect, but more important, the client, walk together through the proposed new building and suddenly say, oh, this kitchen works fine for cooking, but it doesn't work for parties.
Seem far-fetched? Try far-flung. In Japan, virtual reality is already a consumer's choice. In this Tokyo showroom, a housewife thinking about redesigning her kitchen need only slip into VR gloves and goggles. But one of the most promising applications of virtual reality is in medicine. This cancer patient has a tumor. It has to be located and then bombarded with radiation beams. Current techniques for positioning those beams are painstakingly slow and potentially dangerous.
The whole technique of radiation therapy requires bringing very strong X-ray beams to bear on the tumor. The task is, how do you put the beams through so that they hit the tumor and miss other sensitive parts of the anatomy, such as the spinal cord or the eyes?
So Brooks and his colleagues have begun testing a VR system that takes traditional CAT scan images and turns them into a three-dimensional model of the patient's body. Doctors will be able to plan their method of attacking the tumor on this virtual patient, even before the real patient enters the hospital.
So for all intents and purposes, the physician could walk around this virtual body and kind of reach up into space and align these radiation beams to zap the tumor.
Yes, and he sees the tumor, and he sees the beams in their standard position, and he reaches out and takes one and aims it until it goes through the tumor. And he can look along it and see what it's hitting and what it's missing.
Clearly, virtual reality now straddles that foggy boundary between fantasy and fact. Just 9 years ago, a science fiction movie called Tron showed what it might be like not just to play a video game, but to become part of it. Well, Hollywood's dream is John Waldron's nightmare. At least that's what he calls this virtual world made for two. A video game where the players are on the inside looking out.
Now the visor here.
I've got a joystick. I've got a helmet.
That's right. And you just put the helmet on like that. Right. And of course you see that you have a gun in your hand, and to fire the gun, you simply press the trigger. And I'll get in and join you.
Okay. Come into my world, John.
Linked by a computer that tracks our individual motions, Waldron and I are now both inside the same electronic world.
There you are.
Hi.
Hello there.
The game board consists of several checkerboard platforms floating in space. The goal, to chase and shoot your opponent.
I've got the gun in my hand here. I hate to do this to you right now, but I missed.
It lobs down. We've made gravity twice what it should be.
You're gone, John. You're history.
As the game proceeds, two prehistoric birds slip into view. If one picks you up by the scruff of your neck, the sense of flying can be all too realistic.
I'm a little worried about that flying pterodactyl at this point. Oh, here comes the bird. Where's that bird?
He's got you. He's got you again.
Ah, he got me from behind. Oh, my God. I think I have to take this helmet off. I'm physically feeling the space here for a second. Oh, my God.
While I was playing the game, it seems virtual reality was playing a trick on my mind. The pictures and sounds around me were all that was necessary to convince me I was walking, flying, and falling.
The visual display at the moment is crude. There are these crude cartoon-like characters. That's not the issue. The fact of the matter is, in virtual reality, there is no limits to what we can do. We can be anywhere, anytime, any place. And it's really, that's the issue. It's total escapism.
Quite a game, or is it? Virtual reality had its roots in flight simulators, and today the military is a major user of the technology. American pilots planned their bombing runs on Iraq across a virtual sky, and tank commanders practiced on a virtual battlefield.
We are now reaching the point where the simulations are so realistic that the line between playing a game or simulation and actually blowing people up is becoming blurred.
Howard Rheingold has just published the first book on virtual reality. And like all technology, this one, he says, comes complete with a double-edged sword.
There's no way of a soldier in a simulator knowing whether their commanding officer has thrown a switch somewhere and instead of playing a game, they're bombing real people.
For now, any flickering moral doubts about this technology remain hidden by its potential power and promise. Today, VR is still in its infancy. But as computers grow more powerful, the graphics more detailed, and the sensations more human, virtual reality will force us to ask, what is real? It will be up to our children to find the answer.
What kind of reality are our grandchildren going to accept? Is the natural world with real trees and real rivers going to be there? Or are we going to live in 800-story high-rises all plugged into our virtual realities in which we walk through artificial forests? This might be a turning point for the human race. We might be going inward towards an artificial experience.